tonight. And yeah, Melissa, we couldn't get back into it either when it kicked us all out. We're gonna go over to Milano's, and if you have more questions you want to ask our guest speaker about or talk to him, it's a great place to let all that happen. And we will, just you're on your own for whatever food you want to get, or share a pizza or anything like that. They wouldn't give me the budget to buy pizza for the whole class. Can you believe that? So anyway, we forgot to coordinate how we were going to kick all of this off. Are you going to talk about how we met?
I figured you would.
Oh, I would?
Yeah,
okay.
Right.
Well, okay. So there's a website called QUORA, and it is for QU is for question, OR is or, and A is answer. So it's QORA. And I've been kind of active on it and looking for and things like that. And I'm in the areas where you have people talking about graduate school and some of the challenges. And I've found people talking about being international students. And I said, I have students that have come to the United States and come to school here and not always finding what they were expecting. And that's when I found somebody responded to one of these things, and his name was KP Wee. And we started texting or emailing back and forth about our experiences and what we had done. And I found out that he came from Singapore and went to Canada to school, and at some point decided that he wasn't going to go back to Singapore, and then became, are you Canadian now?
I'm Canadian, yes.
You're Canadian? A?
Yes.
So I'm Canadian. I'm dual citizenship. I've got U.S. and Canadian citizenship.
Okay.
So, I thought his story was really interesting about some of the things that he did to acclimate into the new culture. So, is that enough of an introduction to you?
Yeah, that's great. Okay. That's perfect.
All right. And I'll give you the microphone.
Okay. Perfect.
And you can either clip it on your pocket and find out if people in TV land can still hear you.
All right. So testing 1, 2, 3. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Jonathan says yes.
Okay. And Melissa does too. So just click on the left one to move it forward.
Okay. Perfect. Yes.
And I'll hang out over here for a while.
All right. So my name is KP. Nice to meet you guys. And as Dave told you, we met online, and it's an honor for me to have the opportunity to speak with you guys. Hopefully, you can learn something from my experience, and these are my personal experiences. So if I'm able to help one of you guys or some of you, that's wonderful. I don't think I'm an expert at anything like that in this subject, but again, I can only speak to my own personal experiences. And if you have questions, of course, let me know. If I can help you out in any way, that's why I'm here. Okay, so basically what I'm going to talk about is adjusting to North American culture. As Dave told you, I'm from Singapore, and I'm now living in Canada, not the U.S. but Canada. So it's still relevant, I guess, since we're talking about North American culture. Just a little bit of background about myself, and I'm from Singapore. I came over to I went over to Canada when I was a bit younger. So it's, I guess, maybe a bit different from some of you if you moved here just to study in university. I studied, I went to the University of British Columbia in Vancouver and studied Bachelor of Commerce, so I have a business administration degree. And being Singaporean, although I'm Canadian now, I speak Mandarin fluently and also English. But I find that now I'm more of I consider myself to be an English speaker, just because when I first moved to Canada, I just used English a lot, even though when I was a kid, when I grew up, In Singapore, I use Mandarin, with my family, with my sister, my parents. That originally was my first language, but after moving here, or not here, but moving to Canada, I gradually started using English as a first language. Although I should say again, it might be a bit different for in your cases, because when I moved to Canada the first time, I live in a small town called Fort McMurray, Alberta. It's a tiny little town in the province of Alberta, where the population is small because it's again a small town, like kind of like a community kind of environment, and I want to say 99% of the people that lived there were Canadian born, and they spoke English. So I didn't really have anybody to speak Chinese with other than my family, my parents, my sister, because we moved together. So I guess for me, I had an advantage because I was exposed to English speakers all over. So that might be a bit different from some of you, because obviously if you're here now, I guess you have friends who speak the same native language as you, so you kind of have I don't want to say disadvantage, but it's just that you're more familiar. You have people that are here who are your friends that speak the same language from the same culture. So it's it's a bit different from when I moved over to Canada. But there's a question here from Jonathan. Do you think in English? Sounds silly, but I've heard that is a big change. Actually, that's a great question, Jonathan. The question is, do you speak or do you think in English? The answer is yes, because I find that that's important when you're trying to adjust to like a new culture or a new language. When I'm thinking about something or I'm dreaming of something, it's always in English. It's just because it's more natural that way. Just because when I want to communicate with people in English, I think in English, and if I wanted to think in Chinese, for example, it's just more. It doesn't seem natural to me. It's just more of like a natural thing, I think. So to answer the question simply, yes, I think in English. I just think that it's more natural for me that way. So I hope that answered the question. Yeah, by all means, if there are other questions, I'll pay attention to the screen here, so that yeah, for sure. All right. Okay, so that's a little bit about myself. Right now I live in Vancouver, and when Dave suggested that if I'm ever in this area, I could come by and speak with you guys, I thought, why not? I haven't had a vacation for a long time, so decided to take a trip here, check out what Dayton has to offer, and I'm here for a week, and then next Tuesday I'm back to Vancouver. Yeah. So what I want to say is that I guess I developed some strategies in terms of how I got adjusted to Canadian culture, North American culture basically. And again, these are just my personal thoughts, my personal experiences, which work for me. So perhaps if you are someone who feels kind of like it's hard for you to be adjusted to the American culture, the American ways of thinking, maybe this could help you, but I know that these help me, and so I'm here to share with you what I've experienced. So the first thing is, it seems like it's common sense, but it's very important that you know what your goals are. You have to sit down and think about them and actually write them out, because if you write something out, you always have a chance to see what they are. And it's not just thinking in your head, but you have to kind of write them out in some detail. This is for yourself. This is not for you to share with your friends or to share with your teachers, but this is your own for you personally. It's like you can type this out, you can write it out, but I think it's very reasonable to come up with 30 goals, 30 personal goals for yourself. What do you expect? What do you hope to accomplish? Like within the next 5 years, personally. And it's not just a simple sentence like, I want to buy a house, but you give it more details, more specifically, what kind of house do you want to get, and also where, how are you going to get there, how are you going to make this happen. So I think one thing that is very important that it seems like common sense, but maybe not a lot of people do, is actually sit down and figure out what exactly it is you want to accomplish. And I find that if you write them out, if you look at them repeatedly, it kind of helps you, it kind of pushes you to try and get those done. It's kind of like a checklist of things. You go to the supermarket, maybe you write down the list of groceries you want to pick up from the store. It's kind of like that. Is you write down a list of your goals, and you have some details, and you try and work towards getting each one of those items on your list, checked off or completed. Now, again, I want to say that you're not, going to be sharing your goals with anybody, but this is just for you to understand and for you to look at and see how you progress in your life. So this is very important. And also, one follow-up to that is you need to be realistic with your goals. You have to, let's say my goal is I want to learn a new language. I want to learn, Spanish, because I don't speak Spanish. I don't know Spanish. And maybe I want to be able to communicate fluently with my Spanish friends in Spanish within the next 2 months. Is that realistic? Well, you have to kind of figure out what you want to do to get to that goal. Are you going to practice Spanish every day? Are you gonna try and learn Spanish and speak it when you have free time, or are you just gonna say I have this goal and not do anything about it? So you have to always, when you make a goal, be realistic in what you want to get and work towards reaching it. It can't be just something where you set a goal that's so high that's impossible. It's not going to be it's not going to work out for you. So try to set goals that are more realistic. You can attain them if you work toward them. And I say constantly remind yourself. Being the next point is, what do I mean by that? Now, again, having it written down, having your goals, whether it's 30 or however many you want written down, helps to remind yourself. And nowadays, most people have smartphones, they have laptops. Have your goals kind of like in your phone, so that somewhere on your phone there's a notes or a notepad application that I believe exists in all kind of smartphones. So you can always pull them up and review your goals regularly and remind yourself what you're trying to accomplish. And you can also, at home, stick your list of goals on the refrigerator door so you can see it every day, right? So if you live alone, you can put that on your fridge door. You can see it every day. Even in your room, maybe you want to print this out or write this out and stick it somewhere near your bed, so on the wall, so that when you wake up every morning or before you go to bed every night, you remind yourself what you're trying to accomplish and what your goals are. If you constantly remind yourself, this helps for you to get to those goals. And I think a lot of I want to say maybe business leaders or successful people, they do that, I think, and that really helps. So that's what I want to say about that. Do you guys do that actually? Do you write your goals down? Do you remind yourself? No? Maybe try it and see if it works for you. Yeah, that will be something that you can definitely try. And then after you've identified your goals, you've defined them, you've written them out, you've reminded yourself. I kind of talked a little bit about that earlier, just a couple of minutes ago, but research and understand how to achieve these goals. work towards them. You have to nowadays especially, we have the internet is a very wonderful resource. If you want to, let's say if you want to know how to cook very nice dishes for your family, maybe because you don't cook, but you want to, one of your goals is to, learn how to cook so that you can properly fix meals for your family once in a while. There are tons of websites out there that you can get recipes online. You can kind of see like what people talk about for specific types of recipes and how to make a fantastic meal using certain ingredients. So my point is the internet is available and all kinds of topics are on there that you can learn. You can help yourself to understand how certain things work, how to do certain things. And these resources are very helpful for you to try and understand what you want to do and how to get these goals accomplished. So that's very important. We have resources available to us on the internet that can help us make our goals easier to achieve. And another thing I want to, or a reminder here I wanted to mention is, it's not a race. It's more like a journey. It takes time for you to accomplish your goals, whatever they are. Don't try and rush so that you can get it done quickly. But think of it as not a race but a journey, and it doesn't happen magically. You can't reach your goals right away. If I want to learn Spanish, for example, I need to realize I need to practice a lot. I need to study it a lot, use it a lot. It doesn't just happen magically. I can't just, not speak Spanish and expect to learn it or expect to have it understood. It just takes time, practice to reach that goal. And one last thing I want to mention about goal setting and accomplishing your goals is to reward yourself with significant milestones. If you were able to accomplish goal number 5 on your list of 30, then reward yourself, treat yourself, for getting that done. Because I'm not sure about this class, but maybe if you make mistakes on your assignments, your instructor, your professor will say, "Oh, you did that wrong." We always hear negative feedback. Most of the time, we hear negative feedback because we did something wrong. We can improve in certain ways. So if you accomplish your goals, this is something that you can pat yourself on the back by doing something good, by accomplishing something positive, because most of the time you only get negative feedback, or you get feedback when you've done something wrong, when you've screwed up somewhere. So you want to take the time to reward yourself or pat yourself on the back or praise yourself if you did something good. That, in this case, it would be accomplishing a goal on your checklist. So always reward yourself, and how you do that, that's you know yourself best. You know how to take care of yourself, reward yourself. Maybe it can be something like treating yourself to ice cream or something. That's ice cream is always good for significant milestones, for sure. But the important thing is just to understand your goals, work toward them. Remember that it takes time, and finally reward yourself after you have achieved them. So that's the first point about goals. The second point is about your mindset and being firm. Now, it's very important to be positive all the time, and having a positive mindset goes a long way. Like, for example, if you're not successful in doing something, or you haven't reached your goal within a specific time frame, don't stress out if you can't get it first. You keep trying, keep working toward getting it. That's very important. You always have to be positive, and even if something goes wrong, don't give up, but keep trying, keep wanting to push forward and trying to make something happen, to try and reach your goals. And have determination. Someone tells you, this is too hard, you're not going to be able to do it, you can't do it, you can't. if you always hear this kind of negative feedback or negative, opinions, it's block them out. Like block out people that tell you can't do this, you cannot do that, you're not good at this, it's not going to work. If there are people that are negative around you, it's important to find a way to ignore them or to block out what they're trying to tell you. Because if you're trying to succeed in certain areas, you have to be positive and be determined to want to get it accomplished. And there's also times when we're all human. Sometimes we have negative thoughts. If something doesn't go right, we get discouraged, we get depressed. But what you want to do is, instead of feeling sorry or feeling bad or feeling negative, you want to always think about solutions, because you can the person that cares most about you is yourself. You're the one that knows yourself the most. You care about yourself the most. You always want to find solutions on how to solve your problem, but don't focus so much on the problem itself. When something goes wrong, you want to focus on how to solve this problem, how to accomplish your goals. And if something happens that's bad, you don't try to focus on negative stuff, but focus on how you can make things work out. So always focus on solutions. That's very important. So this is all about mindset, about positivity. I think that's important. That sometimes because of everyday life problems, we don't really focus on solutions. But it's very important to try and be successful. And speaking of that, I guess more about failures. In America, we have a lot of celebrities, a lot of politicians, inspirational people that are famous, for their careers and also famous for what they say. And sometimes it's important to try and learn what these successful individuals, whether they're a celebrity like an athlete or a politician, an actress, and so on. Sometimes we can learn from what they say about improving our mindsets. And here's one from Michael Jordan, a very famous former basketball player who played for the Chicago Bulls. And he said, I've missed, I guess he said this during his playing days when he was still playing basketball, but he's retired now. I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over again in my life, and that's why I succeed. So here's someone who's a famous celebrity. He failed many times. I don't know if these numbers he actually calculated or if he's exaggerating, but he's failed many times in his life, but he kept practicing, he kept trying to work towards getting better, improving himself, and he's obviously a very successful person in the U.S. He never gave up. He just kept trying. And this is the kind of mindset we need to adapt, so that if we were successful the first time, second time, third time, so what? Keep trying. Keep focusing on finding the solution to solve the problem that you have. Find ways to achieve your goals. So it's very important to always be positive and think about how to continue to improve, continue to learn, and get better. I'm sure that in your own personal examples, you can think of other quotes or other famous sayings from celebrities, famous people that are inspirational to you. And this kind of thing is, definitely inspiring to people that, want to play basketball. They're not good at it, but this gives them hope that if they practice hard, if they keep going, they don't stop trying, they can also succeed in what they're trying to accomplish. Especially if their goals are realistic. Now, this is something that I want to talk about now, which has to do with, I understand that a lot of you come from a foreign country and you're here in the United States, here in Dayton, Ohio, to go to school, to attend this university. And it might be hard for you to get adjusted to the American culture, but you want to kind of think about it as you're not abandoning your own culture, you're not abandoning your country. I don't know your situation, personally maybe it's different for some of you, but I'm going to guess that most of you are here for, well, maybe some of you are here for a short amount of time. If you're not originally from America, you're here for a short time and then you'll go back to your home country after a few years, after a few months. I don't know the situation exactly, but maybe some of you are here just for a short time and then you return to your country after. So you want to think about right now, focus on right now. You are in the United States, so you want to try your best to adapt to the culture, because this is like a very good life experience, because you're here in this country studying, maybe working, I don't know, I'm trying to get a job, but you're here, so you will eventually return to your own country. If you just came here recently, you eventually go back to your home country at some point. So right now, you want to focus on enjoying your life here, because maybe you're not going to stay here forever. So when you go back to your home country, maybe you'll miss, the days that you spent here. Maybe I hope they're happy days that you're spending here. But the point is, just remember to enjoy what you have right now in the American culture, because again, when you go back to your own country, you're not going to experience it again. So just think about it as you're not giving up on your background if you're trying to adjust to American lifestyle, American culture. I say most of the time because for me, I was from Singapore and I moved to Canada and I'm living there now. But Singapore, they don't offer dual citizenship. Dave earlier said that he has a dual citizenship. He's a U.S. citizen and Canadian citizen too. It's possible for U.S. and Canada, but for Singapore, if you want to be Canadian citizen, you have to give up on your Singaporean citizenship. So I'm not a I'm not a citizen of Singapore anymore because I have to give it up by becoming a Canadian citizen. So some countries, they don't allow you to have more than one citizenship. Maybe some other countries, they allow you to. So let's say if you become a U.S. citizen, you might not have to give up on your citizenship from back home. So sometimes, if you decide to stay here for a long time and you become a citizen here, you don't have to give up on your background. You're not doing that unless, again, some certain countries like Singapore, you have to give up your citizenship, which is true in my case. But think of being here, studying here, maybe working here. You're starting a journey as part of your life. These experiences that you have here are part of it. Imagine if, let's say, you go on a vacation somewhere. If you go on a vacation, I don't know, wherever it is, Mexico, Hawaii, wherever, Florida, somewhere warm. When you take a vacation, you're not staying in the hotel room every day, right? When you go on vacation, you want to go and explore, do something fun, do something interesting that is, popular in that city that you're visiting for vacation. You're not just going to be sitting in a room studying, watching TV the whole day in your hotel room. I think most people don't do that. So think of where you are right now. You're studying here in in Dayton, Ohio. You're here. Maybe not this is not a vacation for you, but still you should try. If you're not doing that, and you try and do different activities here, that because again, you might not have a chance to do that in the future if you're returning to your home country. So my point here is that when you're here right now, you'll try and experience as much as you can about the culture, the activities here. Obviously, this is my first time here, so I don't know exactly what the Dayton has to offer. But you've been here for some time. You know what fun things there are to do here. So experience it and embrace it, and again, treat it as positive experiences in your life, as a part of a journey that you're having in your life. No questions here, I guess, but I guess for me, I guess I mentioned earlier that I spoke Chinese when I was in Singapore, but after moving to Canada, I started speaking English more regularly because in the town of Fort McMurray, Alberta, when I first moved to Canada, most of the population was Canadian, Caucasian, and they spoke English or French, but mostly English. So I had to use English every day when I was in school, when I was with my classmates, because they spoke English or French. But after a year living in Fort McMurray, I then moved to Vancouver in British Columbia, and Vancouver is more of a multicultural city where there are a lot of Chinese immigrants from Hong Kong, and then later Japan, Taiwan, China, but also a lot of Italians live there, a lot of people from Greece, from India. So Vancouver is a big city that has more of like a multicultural mix to it because a lot of people from different countries immigrate there. So when I went to school in Vancouver, there are a lot of people that spoke Mandarin, that spoke Chinese, which was my native tongue in my childhood. But I guess I just didn't really hang out with those Chinese or those Asian students because I wanted to speak English. I wanted to be Canadian, and I thought if I was speaking Chinese all the time, it's like I'm still living in Singapore. I didn't want that, so I decided.
How old were you at that time?
Younger, 12. But I mean, so my experience is that's a good question. I was 12 when at that time, but again, it's different with you guys, different with people that are in this room. But again, personal experiences is different for every single person. So it's just a matter of making a choice. And I decided at that time that I wanted to use English more, and I didn't speak Chinese to anybody in class in Vancouver, and I hung out with the students that use English all the time, and that's how it was for me. Again, it's just a personal choice. I guess why did I do that? I guess for me, I felt more like respect, because I guess I prefer to follow the culture in Canada, because I always figure, I'm lucky that I don't speak French. We had to learn French in school, but I don't speak French. I can speak English, which is just one of the 2 official languages in Canada. But I only speak English, but not French. But I'm still able to live in Canada, and I feel like it was an honor for me to live there. At the time, I didn't know if I was going to go back to Singapore or not, but I thought since I was in Canada, I should just speak English all the time because that's what they speak. That's just, again, my personal belief, my personal opinion. People can disagree with that, which is no problem. But I guess I just started to follow some of the culture and some of the tradition in Canada. But of course, sometimes it's okay to have exceptions. There's no rules are made to be broken, and there are some exceptions to some rules. For example, I still don't celebrate Christmas. Really, it's a big North American, Canadian, American holiday, but I don't celebrate Christmas because I guess I didn't grow up with that, so I still don't celebrate right now. And I don't have turkey for Thanksgiving. Did anyone have turkey for Thanksgiving? Maybe not. Some of you did. Okay, a couple of people. I've lived in Canada for many years now, but I just don't celebrate Thanksgiving. It's not a big deal for me. I don't really like turkey. I've had it a couple of times. But the point is, I say that I follow some of the traditions, some of the customs in Canada, but there's some things I don't do. I don't celebrate Christmas. I don't celebrate Thanksgiving. That's just how it is. Yeah, so it's just, again, a matter of preference, choice. I just decide I want to speak a certain language in Canada, and I follow some of the tradition, but not all of them. I find that reminds me, because you guys just had Thanksgiving last week in the U.S. In Canada, the Thanksgiving holiday is in October, so the Canadians celebrate Thanksgiving last month. So I find it very funny though, because like I said, Vancouver, where I'm from, is multicultural, and they have people that immigrated from many different countries. Most of them, I guess, they don't really celebrate Thanksgiving, but they all know Black Friday, which is funny because it's a big shopping day in America, but also in Canada as well. Even though Thanksgiving for Canadians is in October, they had Black Friday like last Friday. I went to the mall in Vancouver, and it was like packed. There's so many people buying stuff because they have a lot of discounts to honor Black Friday. I just thought it was kind of funny, but lot of people that immigrated to Vancouver, to Canada, they know Black Friday, but that's because they like shopping, I guess. It's just I find it funny that they celebrate it even though Thanksgiving was a month ago. Yeah, so that's just an amusing thing that I found. So we talked about goals, we talked about mindset, talked about a lot of stuff so far. Again, I want to reiterate, like, these are my personal experiences. These are what have helped me to get adjusted to Canadian life, North American life. And we are different. I'm different from you guys because I came to North America when I was a bit younger. But it's also very, I don't know, maybe it was more difficult in some areas for me because, like I said, when I first moved to Canada, I lived in a small town for a year where 99% of the population was Caucasian. It was hard to get used to that because all the things that I was familiar with in Singapore, suddenly it's all different in Canada. Like, the language was different because in Singapore we use English, but we use British English, which is a lot different from American English. And in Canada, we use American English. We don't use British English in Canada. So when I was, in Fort McMurray the first time, when I moved to Canada from Singapore, especially kids, they want to be cool. They use all kinds of slang words. So it took me a long time to understand what certain words mean. Because just a lot of slang is used in conversation all the time, so it really took me a long time to understand. At that time, there was no internet, so I couldn't just Google something if I didn't understand it. It took me a long time to kind of remember things, to remember what cool means, what sucks, what that means. Because we never use that in Singapore, because again we use British English, and someone might say, "Hey, that guy's pants sucks." what do you think? I'm like, I don't know what that means, but you have to explain it to me. But which is okay. If you don't know something, you can find out. But just at the time, there was no Google. At the time, there was no internet. Now it's easy for you to find out something really easy just by using your fingers, your thumb to check your smartphone. But the point is that my experiences are different from yours, but there's some level of difficulty in what I dealt with, and also with what you are dealing with as well. If you are new in America and you're not, confident with adjusting to lifestyle here, it takes time. It takes a lot of time to be comfortable. But whatever you do, you need to have passion. You need to, whatever you're doing, whatever you're trying, just be passionate about it. You have to love what you want to do. Otherwise, if you don't have any passion, you don't have any interest, you're not interested in what you're doing, you're not excited. If you're not excited about it, then it's harder. So always be excited, have passion, be interested in what you're trying to do. So genuinely want to learn something new. If I move to Dayton, Ohio, from Vancouver, it's similar because moving from Canada to the U.S. It's still North America, but perhaps it might get some time for me to adjust to if I want to stay here for a long time. So I need to understand what is important, or what is popular here, so I can get adjusted to it. But whatever it is, you want to have passion and find out what it is that you want to do, so that if you're interested in something, then it makes it easier, is what I'm saying. So I guess going back to my point earlier about the slang, American slang that they use in Canada, if I wasn't interested in learning about these slang words, then it might have been more difficult for me to learn. But at the time I wanted to learn, I wanted to find out what all those slang words meant. And to answer a question from earlier, even at that time, I guess I tried to think in English as well. I didn't try to write down the Chinese definition beside every new word I learned. I didn't do that. I just tried to think about it in English, and I thought I'd learn quicker that way. But getting back to passion, you need to embrace something, be passionate about it. If you don't know enough about it, ask questions, do some research. The internet is available for you to research stuff. You have people living here that maybe you're friends with that have lived here for a long time. Then ask them questions. Why is let's say Thanksgiving, the holiday that you guys just had? Why is Thanksgiving important to people here? Try to find out. Another thing that Dave found out about me when we kind of met online is I'm a sports fan now, but I never liked sports when I was a kid because I'm a pretty short guy. How tall am I? I'm probably 5 feet 4 inches. I'm not tall at all. And when I was a kid, I was also not very athletic. And soccer is a big sport in Singapore. I think that's the only sport they play. Badminton maybe, but soccer is they play soccer in school in Singapore. So every time we have gym class or PE class, I was very maybe scared because we play soccer and the ball is so big, and I'm just a little kid and I'm not athletic. I don't run fast, so I was always very worried the ball's going to hit me. I was always worried about that. So I never liked sports when I was young. But after I moved to Fort McMurray from Singapore, my classmates are all very interested in hockey. And Singapore, of course, is a very hot country that has just one season. It's just hot weather and rain all year round. So there's no ice, no snow. So for me, it was something that's new. But in Fort McMurray, Alberta, Canada, all the kids in school they all like to talk about the Edmonton Oilers because that hockey team was near Fort McMurray. So they're always talking about it, and I wanted to be friends with them. I wanted to learn, to understand what it is they are interested in talking about. So we had TVs at home, so I turn on a TV. I can watch hockey sometimes when they have when they have a game on Channel 3, CBC. They have a hockey game. I sometimes I'll watch it just to see what's so interesting about it. Why do people at school talk about it? And then I ask my friends questions about it. So I started becoming interested in watching hockey just because I wanted to, have a conversation with my friends at school about something, and they're interested in hockey because hockey is a Canadian sport, one of the national sports in Canada. So I thought that's very Canadian. I wanted to learn more about it, so I began watching, and I started to learn more about it, and I became a sports fan, a hockey fan. Even though I never liked sports at school, like I said, I hate the soccer balls flying over, and I was afraid it was going to hit me. And I don't, that's just how it is. I just didn't like sports. But after moving to Canada, I started watching sports. I like talking about it with my friends. It's something that we talk about. They're passionate about it. I became passionate about it because I wanted to have something to talk about with them, and this was something that allowed us to have very strong conversations and help build our friendships. And sometimes, like I said, sometimes I ask them, what does this mean? What does this slang word mean? But more importantly, I wanted to be friends with them. I wanted to enjoy the things that they like. So I thought that this was important to develop friendships, and for me it worked because it just worked for me. So maybe this is something that could work for you. I'm not sure, but it worked for me.